later to this meeting. All right. Yeah, I'm getting recording in YouTube. Okay. Yeah, welcome, folks. Today is 22nd October 2021, and then this is our. I see some lag there, so probably I'll just close this YouTube video. Okay. Yeah, today is Friday, 22nd October 2021, 9 a.m. IST, and this is our first Zoom call meeting for Cluster API provider for IBMCloud. So good to good to see all of you folks in community Zoom call. Yeah, we'll get started with introduction, like how are we going to manage this meeting, and then a couple of updates I'll give about the meetings, and then so the code of conduct, and then we'll go through a quick demo. What I have really tried, with staging image modification, and then we'll do, of course, the bug triaging, and then we'll also go through the outstanding PS if you have any, right? So yeah, feel free to add any agenda if you guys want to discuss, and then we can go ahead and then discuss about some of those things, right? And then yeah, of course, like please make sure you add your entries like attendance here. So after this meeting, and so I'll post the recording link also here in the same agenda, right? All right, so without any further delay, let's get started. So first update I want to give is that I did the Readme update with all relevant links here. So if someone wants to kind of access, they can just go to this section under Readme here. So this contains all the information like the Slack channels we discussed, and then also like if you want to edit or access or modify anything to our nodes, so you just need to join these C cluster lifecycle. Feel free to do that. And so here is our meeting note, so you can anyone can just log in and then editing. So and then feel free to do that, and then also included the Zoom call meeting link here. So far it is like it doesn't really ask for any passcode at the moment, so I'm not sure whether still going to continue that way, or we may see some default passcode set, so that may happen. So I mean, because I see most of the Zoom call meetings, they have the default passcode set. I may do that, but once I do that, I'll just update that information here. And of course, like we have code of conduct, we also just follow the code of conduct from Kubernetes communities. So make sure, so we follow the code of conduct mentioned here. So yeah, so they have different languages and then what, so just make sure you just follow the code of conduct, right? All right, so and then yeah, I mean, I'll just any questions before I just go ahead and then start with demo. So any questions with respect to the meeting, or any recommendations or any comments? Okay, I'll try silence as no. All right, so quickly let's get started with the demo. Okay. Right. Yeah, so what I want to show today is how do you deploy a cluster API IBMCloud provider into one of your Kubernetes clusters, right? So that's what the demo, and using, of course, it uses the staging image, what we are keep pushing in our staging environment, right? So I'm in the root folder of IBMCloud. I mean, so there's a one file already exists, which already got generated. I'll just delete that. And let me start it from the beginning. So at the moment we have Kubernetes. I mean, I do have a local client cluster running, and then which is like 1.22. And I also have, the clusters cluster API CAPI controller deployed here. So which is like, you can see here the KubeADM Bootstrap is running, and then you also see a CAPI system, and which is like CAPI controller, and then a bunch of other supporting parts, certificate manager, and then whatnot. And then this is a version of V 0.4.3, which is like alpha beta V4, something like that. So, okay, so I made changes recently into the code for using the staging images, so that you can see here. So config, I can just go to the history and see. Right. So this is the PR mostly delivering that. So yeah, a bunch of changes made in here, and then we also kind of like patching the deployment file to use latest staging image. Right. So these are the changes. I mean, I did make some changes here, like the naming prefix, the namespace prefix, of course, because we used to have VPC before, and then I just made it generic so that it applies for both VPC and Power VS or any other provider we're going to add into the CAPI provider. And then also I just changed, the naming prefix also, right? And then there are a bunch of changes I made to comply with the latest code changes for V4. And then of course, so this is the change which I made it for the patching the image for deployment. So this is the image pointing to a staging repository at the moment, and the tag is main, which is like always the latest, from the main branch, right? So that's what the idea is. Like, let's get started with generating the spec YAML files from, the customization folder. Okay, so this is a command I'm going to run. So customize, build, and config default. So this will generate a big spec file, which contains all sort of information like your CIDs, and then like deployments and namespace and then whatnot. So this is how the file looks like. So so these are the bunch of artifacts gets generated with customize command. And you can see here, right? So this is your namespace, and then these are like the different CRDs for all our resources, custom CRDs. And then this is a service account, and then followed by a bunch of roles, and then role bindings. I think we also need to revisit the roles and role bindings at the moment. So I feel that we have additional roles and role bindings which are not really required. So I'll just create a task for that. So I haven't created it, but yeah, of course, these are the role bindings at the moment. And then we also have service, and then this is the deployment file, which I'll be more interested in, because this is where the image will get overwritten via that customized script, right? So yeah, this is the image you can see here. And then, of course, we have this kube proxy. So this one, again, we need to revisit and then see whether we really need this or not, because I have seen that other projects are not really using this kube proxy stuff. So we also need to revisit this part. Okay, so yeah, we can just quickly just deploy this queue manage spec. Right. So this will install all the required namespace, and then a bunch of CRDs, and then deployment, of course. Then we can see if anything gets lost. Right. So I see this. Yeah, here you can see the cube system. The CAPI IBMCloud system namespace got deployed, and then you can also see that CAPI controller is up and running. So it is like, of course, it is in creating. So let's wait for a couple of Probably minutes. Yeah, I think it's already up and running. So this is really great. So you can see here KL minus N and then namespace. What's the manager part here? And then I'll just put minus F follow. Yeah, so you can see here the controller is up and running. So it got, I mean, is using the lease and then we got a lease and then it is bunch of the resources what it is listening to. So yeah, I mean, yeah, this is it. This is the quick demo for the deployment part. Of course, if you create a machine resources on top of this, I really doubt it will work because right now I am not, I mean, or at least this deployment, YAML doesn't contain any sort of secrets or API key paths. So that's something we need to work on. So we already have a task for that. We need to kind of figure out a way to supply API key to the controller, right? So that is outstanding. So that's something we need to fix it. But at the moment, till now, I mean, like we can just deploy the controller like any other controller and then it is working fine. So that's what the goal of this particular PR and then demos, it is happening without any issues. So I'll pause for a second and then take questions if any.
Andrew, so I have just posted some comments in the agenda part. So currently there's a new concept named as cluster ops. So I can see that someone is trying to leverage the class API plus GitOps to help the customer to deploy different Kubernetes clusters on different cloud. So I was just wondering, maybe we can also provide some kind of GitOps technology for the class API provider IBMCloud as well, so that the customer can enable GitHub to trace their changes in some YAML templates in their cluster. This can also help to simplify the process of deploying Kubernetes clusters in the IBMCloud as well, I think.
Okay, that's fantastic. So can you create an issue? Like, I'm not sure whether you already created an issue somewhere in.
Not yet, but I have posted two links in the Google Doc. So I think, yeah, I think I can spend some time later.
Okay, yeah. So that will be great. So I think, yeah, we can make sure we create a. Okay, yep. Cool. Yeah, so it will be good if you can create a issue. I mean, I can also create a issue. So, okay. Good. So, any other questions or any feedback? So feel free to create issues if you think something is not really appropriate, or feel free to create PRs also required. All right. So yeah. So the next item I want to discuss is bug triage. So I did create a bunch of issues. Yeah. So at the moment, like, looking at this board is not really a nice way of triaging it. So I also created a project for triaging it, but right now it is just a very simple project. I haven't got a chance to kind of like triage these issues into different cards, but I'm planning to do that. So that once we click here, so we can see the issues categorized probably based on the priorities and then whatnot. So yeah, so I think what I've done is like so far I've just created all these issues with proper tagging, like the important sub priority and then whatnot. So I think we can just go through these issues later, right? So based on the priorities, what issues can be fixed are based on whatnot, right? Yeah. So again, we are just following the kind of priorities from from Kubernetes world. So so just click here. Yeah. So if I understand it correctly, so how the priority works is that the important zone becomes really very critical, Without that, it's going to be troublesome for the project. So that's something we have, like we need to fix it right away. And then long term is something um, it's okay. I mean, we can fix it for long term, and then it can take some more time or something like that. And then critical urgent is something which needs to be fixed right away, right? So I think most important becomes like most urgent, critical, and then next important soon, and then long term. Then awaiting more evidence means it's not really we don't know whether it's a really bug or something like that. And of course, backlog rest all goes to backlog. Right? Yeah, I see P1 tag also here. Not sure how it is related to other stuff. So yeah, that's about the priority. And then of course, with that, I think yeah, we can go back to the priorities itself. And see if we can triage based on our understanding. So
Monroe,
yeah, so I yeah.
do you think that we still need the P1 label, or we can just delete it?
Yeah, I think we can delete in case if it is not required. I'm not sure who created it, so I'll just go back and then
I agree
see
with that.
if we,
So I think we can remove it. Yeah.
okay, fine. Thank you. All right. So right now I just tagged important soon, like one issue, which is I find it very important. Of course, I don't mind moving it to a critical urgent also because this is something required. So this is the one I was talking about. Like we need to enhance the code, at least the deployment, and then other stuff like ensure that the controller gets the API key properly for deployment. Right. So this is something we need to address it right away because without this, no one can use the deployment YAML in their production. Right. So that's something we need to fix it. So I'm kind of like planning to work on. I know what needs to be fixed here, so I may work on this in the next couple of days and then get some fix ready for review. Right. So that's one thing. Not sure. I'll go back. Yeah. Yeah, so and there are good amount of long-term issues we have. I have created that. Of course, like I feel like the Golang linting is not really in place. Like we still need to enhance the linting for our code. So I just I mean I'm taking Raji's help there, so I think she's agreed to do that. So she's on vacation trip. Yeah, next week sometime she'll be back, and then she should be able to work on this. And then I also created another task for the tilt-based development environment. So this becomes very handy for if you're uh, working on for the development purpose. So most of the other cluster API projects they use this tilt development environment. So also kind of like interested in creating this development environment for us to ensure that we don't go through a lot of manual steps for our testing, right? So that becomes very important, right? So that's about that, and yeah, document the compatibility matrix. Even this becomes very important. You can look at some of the other providers. They have something like this, like they have mentioned, like what cluster API provider supports what version and then whatnot, right? So this particular matrix also we need to create for our project for the user information, right? So that's something we also need to do. So free to jump in. So we just have these open issues in case if you want to work on this, please be free to. And I also created an issue for cluster API using cluster API v1. So this is tricky because we need to, also kind of migrate APIs from alpha v4 to v1 beta 1 because at the moment we are using v1 alpha 4 and then I'm not really sure. I mean, as in this needs some effort, but I'm not really sure whether it's the right time for us to kind of jump and then convert our V4 Alpha v4 APIs to v1 beta 1 because we don't really have a working thing. I mean, at least what I'm looking at is that we'll at least fix some of these issues, and then probably after that, at least some of the API key thing, I just want to fix it before we move forward for the next release, right? So, and also I don't know like who all will be really interested in for the latest v1. But of course, like whenever we gonna, you know, migrate to or adapt to the latest version, so we're going to create a different branch altogether, so that if someone wants to use Alpha v4, so still they'll be able to use, and then if someone wants to use v1 beta 1, so they can of course use with the latest the main, probably from master branch or something like that. Yeah, I mean that's something is in mind. So I not immediately, probably after probably a couple of months or sometime. So we just need to adopt this, right? So any question for this before I move forward? So any questions? So this becomes very important. All right. And of course, I have some low hanging, like, you know, the good to have issues also created. So one of this is for the documentation. So if you look at all the other API providers, so they really have very beautiful documentation created, and then people can just go through this and then, you know, follow the instructions and then whatnot. So this is really good. But if you look at our documentation, it's not really great. So I think we should also kind of follow the similar approach and then get the documentation created. Any questions there? I see someone. All right, so and then I see Emma created this issue. I think she's going to work on this once we there are some issues with the staging. Emma, anything you want to update? Yeah.
So this actually is caused because we are working on a internally we're working on a new feature called reserved IP, and during this phase, while we're since we're targeting the test IBMCloud in the staging environment, so we are going to have this schema incompatible issue. So what we need to do is we need to update to the latest VPC SDK to adopt their latest schema. And also in the meanwhile, we still have some other weird issues we're seeing regarding this new feature. So basically it's updating the SDK, make sure where we are just creating our set of resources, we're using the latest schema and don't have any errors.
Okay, but they don't have any sort of a backward compatibility, isn't it? Like, I'm just wondering why, like, we shouldn't be hitting this.
So the backwards compatibility should be covered by the actual API inside the IBMCloud VPC side. So we don't need to worry about those kind of things.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and there's some other context for this issue because we test all the VPC implementation on our test environment, and if you are trying this on the production environment, there will not be such issue.
Okay. Good.
Am I right, Emma?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, you're right.
Okay, sounds good. And then this issue is for increasing the coverage. So at the moment, like if I go to here, so this is the Go report card for our project, and then we still really have very low Go lint percentage, and most of these issues are with respect to the lack of better documentation for some of the methods what we created across different files. even this needs to be fixed, right? So, I mean, it's just a cosmetic change, right? I have created that, so feel free to, like, if someone wants to, like, someone is interested, feel free to go and then, okay, assign yourself and then work on this. And then, yeah, so one issue, we also have it in the backlog. So this is mainly for adding IBM Cloud provider into CAPI, which is like the cluster CTL thing should be like, it's more of like cluster API or cluster CTL can just use the IBM Cloud infrastructure, right? So I mean, so yeah, this is good to have. Like, I mean, we should target, this for this going forward. So, but at the moment, I don't think we are in a good shape to target for this, because some of our issues like the secret, at least, so that one is not really working. So once we have that, and then once we have, like, working thing end to end, so probably I'll cut on the next alpha release. And then I'm thinking about probably, promoting that alpha release for production, right? So that's something we need to do as well, because we cannot just keep using the staging images forever. So I'm also planning for that. So once we have some images push to the production, so we can make these changes to the cluster API and then expect them to kind of call the production images and then whatnot. So like, so that's something also there in my mind, and then at least we should target by end of this year or beginning of next year. So that's where I'm targeted. Any questions on this one? All right. Yeah, so this is also pending for the cloud provider. We just need to people further understand how do we make use of the cloud control manager. So we also need to see if there are, like, of course, IBM cloud provider is like, falls under the external cloud provider, because we don't really have entry code inside the Kubernetes cloud controllers, the cloud controller managers. So we need to find a way of deploying this cloud controller manager and then ensure that our nodes are getting tagged, then discovered properly in Kubernetes cluster and whatnot. So I see that there is a project created by IBM Cloud folks. It's present in IBM, org thing, go gapping that link, I think a couple of weeks back or a couple of months back. So once I think they have some production ready code, I think we can see if we can use that and then get rid of the issues what we are seeing here. Right? But yeah, the cloud controller becomes very important component, also part of the deployment. So to kind of register these nodes and then whatnot appropriately. So yeah, that one also needs to be taken care. And then this particular logic for alpha v3 to v4, I'm not sure we should really do this at the moment or not. So we discussed before, not many people are using alpha v3 version, so I think we can leave and no need to spend a lot of time here. So that's the reason I just made it as backlog. I think we covered most of the issues. So any other issues if you guys have in mind and think which is not there in this list, want to discuss?
Mando, so I think we also have some plan to integrate cluster API with Hypershift. So I don't know if we have any plan to open some issues or some tasks to choose this.
Oh yeah, I think those issues are, yeah, I see some issues in Hypershift project itself. So okay. Yeah, I can point to those tasks what Tyler created, so I can So I can put that in the documentation. So those issues are already tracked in Hypershift project.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'll mention those links also in the meeting notes. Yeah, that's about the issues. Any more issues or anything else to discuss part of the bug triage? All right, the next item is PRs. So let's go to PRs. Just simply, we don't have any open PRs. Let me look into closed one. I'm just interested in one PR which Bento created for the generic. Then I think Bento was interested in like pushing this PR for main branch. So Bento, so do you have any plans for pushing this to main branch?
So this PR related to us. So we have some conflict with existing implementation of Power BI and the VPC implementation. So the VPC implementation is based on the generic IBMCloud API, and Power BI is based on the other branch. I think there is no such abstract layer.
Okay. But code is already here. So if you go back to IBMCloud, so you'll see entire code is there for Power BI here also, right? So I'm just wondering if you can just create a PR with VPC changes, then probably we can also work parallelly and then get the Power BI changes also integrated. So I don't mind working on the Power BI changes, and then probably one of you, like probably you can cherry pick the commit, and then we can, kind of merge part of one PR. So
okay.
Yeah. So do you mind just pushing whatever you have for VPC thing, so we can also take a look how we can manage based on the changes, the latest changes you made for VPC. We can also look for Power BI and then get that integrated.
Sure.
All right. So apart from that, I don't see any open PRs. I think we did really make a lot of progress over the last week, and then we did a lot of bug fixes, and then you can see here last 7 days there are at least like more than 10 issues. PRs got merged, just really great. Then we also see that this year stuff also got merged by Emma. Good job, Emma, there. So yeah, that's pretty much about the PRs, right? I think that's pretty much what I wanted to discuss part of the agenda. So yeah, we'll go through this also later and then see if anything needs to be created. So we'll do that. All right. So any other topics you guys want to discuss? Okay. And then one more update I just want to give is that there's another person working by name Amulya. Right now we have lot of these clients here, and then I think the other providers, they are maintaining some of those clients in PKG with proper interfaces and then whatnot created. So just to ensure that will give us more opportunity for writing unit test cases, at least for creating some fake clients fake client for IBMCloud or Kubernetes and then add more additional use cases. I have asked her to kind of explore the way of refactoring these clients under cloud scope to PKG that she's working on. So she might, I know, PR she may create some PR in the next couple of weeks. So once we have those refactored clients, I think we can have better coverage and then better mocking APIs to the cloud and then whatnot. So that will give us more confidence also, right?
Mondo, so one question here. So I found that in Red, you can see that there's a label named as used by OpenShift HyperShift. So I don't know how you enable that the HyperShift can appear here.
Okay, on this one.
Red column of the yeah, this one.
Oh yeah, so
together.
How to enable this is what we're trying to say.
Yeah, I don't know how the HyperShift can link into IBM Cloud Provider here.
Okay.
Enable the link?
No, I didn't do anything. So, but this is the actually GitHub's feature. So this is latest feature, right? So whoever is using the, so if you look at it, HyperShift project, right? So if someone is using under Go mod, so it will just automatically will appear here. So, so you can see here. Yeah, I think it's somewhere. Not sure. Kubernetes, where is Kubernetes? Yeah, right. So they are whoever is rendering the IBM Cloud project, right? So you'll see the list here. So that is how it works. Yeah, that is how it works. And then, yeah, of course, there is. I mean, of course, we need to change the module path here because we are not following. We just following these 6 latest whatever, right? So that this needs to be renamed. Yeah. Yep. And then probably get updated to the latest one. Yeah, so that's how it is. Like, I mean, GitHub guys are pushing a lot of features recently. So so no surprise if you see a couple of more sections here. No doubt. And there is also a couple of more issues I am planning to create. Like Dependa bot is another feature from the GitHub. So this is mainly for kind of updating the dependencies and then whatnot. So I'm also planning to integrate this or configure this also to ensure that we always kind of have the latest code for some of our Git mod, right? So most of the other projects also using it. So I may also create one of that and then ensure that will ensure that our Go mod is always updated with whatever latest modules from the different folks, right? We don't need to create ourselves, right? So bot will take care of that. So that's also in my mind. Yeah, anything else? Yeah, that's pretty much from my end, what I wanted to discuss today. So anything else from anyone?
Nope.
All right.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah, thanks all. So good to see you again. Okay, thanks all. Yeah, have a nice day and weekend. Bye-bye.
Thanks.